this is Pixie doing another video. I'm doing a video on the Djinn actually today. So I had this experience. I was meditating and I was just resting my eyes, meditating as you do. Obviously I went to go and drive. And I was just resting, but as I started to come out, I was sort of in between. I saw this black cat, and my eyes weren't open, but I had a sort of feeling of the room as I was just coming to. And it was a black cat. It was like a domestic cat. It was slightly larger though, probably female. I don't know. It had a bit more of a belly to it. I mean, you can't exactly. It's hard to say. Look at a cat and say, "Oh, that's a female cat." But it did seem different, and it was, like I say, it was just in my vision, and it didn't exactly frighten me. It kind of brought me round quick. I realised it wasn't something in my mind that I was controlling. It was there, and it was walking around the back of me in my chair. It was sort of coming closer, and it was looking at me. And I thought, oh, like, what's this strange cat? I mean, I'm not scared of cats. But then it made me also think, because sometimes when you lay in bed, you ever lay in bed and rest there, and you think, am I alone? Sort of in the room or whatever. And you just relax and you sense with your legs, and what you might sense is it feels like some kind of pressure, like some pressure moves onto your legs. And it's probably usually just the covers and the air relaxing onto you, but there's sometimes that sensation. And I have had something where in the past I was laid asleep and I could feel something pushing on the mattress in certain points around me, like something was walking over me. So I just basically, because I was more interested in investigating the phenomena. I thought, what is this? And so I just laid there and relaxed, and played dead basically. Probably easy just to sort of rest there, because it's the same as if you notice something in the room. You don't necessarily want to react strongly to it. If it's kind of aware of you, you're aware of it, it might react. That's why another little game, sort of paranormal game, is if you think something's in the room and you feel it might be near you, they won't react if you can see them. So if you close your eyes and you just relax and pretend like you're asleep, you might notice something like a shadow or something move closer to you, and you're just like the darkness. And then that could be your eyes adjusting to the fact that you're trying to switch them off. There's always, you can always explore different sides of what's going on. It's like you're not looking for evidence just to support a belief structure. You're looking for evidence on potentially what could be going on, and or what's not going on. Just sort of investigate that, because there are, to the field of the eyeballs, is they do more than just. We use it as a kind of as a sort of a transmit energy. What's it transmit? It transfers that information into your brain, and then your brain sorts it out. But it doesn't. It's not limited to a certain. There may be a higher spectrum of information coming across that you can't really process into your sensory perception, because it's like analog sort of data, and it'll become as static, and possibly it's not useful. It's like sound, really. There's a field of sound that you can't really hear in your audio range, but sometimes you do pick up things, like sense things that you didn't think you can normally sense. You sometimes pick up people's intentions and all sorts of things. So that's some area of some sort of sensory range. A disturbance is something you sort of sense. But it's interesting with entities, potentially what's there. And like I say, I've never. There's always been something there that's unexplained in my life, and before I just sort of ignored it for a while. I was open-minded to spiritual stuff, and I accepted, well, maybe there's just spiritual stuff out there. It's like I I wasn't bothered either way. And now I kind of like to explore it a little bit, because I guess there's more information to explore online as well, so you can, you know, what sort of other phenomena. But it's interesting taking an image of a cat. And I did once had this dream, and there was like a cat, and there was like a mouse or something, a rabbit actually, and they chased after each other. It was almost like they were waiting for this other being to turn up, and then they kicked it out. So I think the best thing is just to sort of meditate. And I mean, this was like a week ago, and I was sort of like in and out, but then it's kind of that area of being conscious but still able to sort of dream in that sense. So it's between brainwave states, but the thing that I corresponded to some kind of like a potential threat felt like it was alien to me, in that I didn't put it there. I was just looking around the room, and there was nothing there when I woke up to sort of stimulate this kind of thinking that there was a being like that. And if it does take a cat form, you can kind of meditate on that and let it sit on your lap or whatever, which might sound bizarre, but maybe it gets comfort from being a being, and maybe the being is in between, you know, other beings. It may have simply taken on a form of something it was once inside. Sometimes these things like Djinn, they're not limited to certain space. They're sort of outside of that, so they could literally live inside you if they wanted to, or something else. You know, just there was also something, because on one of these stories about this boy. It's one of these missing ones, missing 411. There was a boy that saw an old woman near a cave, and she seemed all right and everything. And then she got a bit of paper out, and she asked if he could have a shit on it for her. And he kind of refused, but she seemed annoyed. But they do say they're sort of like from Islamic law, it's kind of they're interested in bones and feces. God knows what you find in there, like death energy or something rotten. And it could be they're interested in humans. It's really interested in that energy that we waste, I guess. Maybe they can feed off it. Or maybe it represents something else, I don't know. Like it might have, like the life force might be able to drain out, because I mean bones have got it in the bone marrow, and you know, if you get a chance to eat bone marrow, it's actually quite good for you. Shit, well that's a different story. It's beyond your processing ability. But there is, I mean, you can only take in so many of the nutrients, and then basically bust it as much of your acids as possible. Oh man. There we go. So I mean, maybe when you're there in bed, you just sort of look into the darkness and see if you can sense anything there. Might see sort of swirly patterns, might see something that might open your mind to something else. Or if you're just laying in bed sensing your legs, you know, is there something by you? I mean, sometimes things sit on the side of the bed and it feels like that, or they might sort of touch you in some way. But that could also be your nerve sensing thing. Oh, it could, crazy. Oh, bloody hell. Tight around a bus. Alright, anyway, big sign off, great. Speak to you soon, take care, bye.